and still leading up the first climb is Natalia Korostoleva, leading at the moment with a time of 5:11 up the first climb. Interesting to see how long that will survive. Representing Russia, Korostoleva, as you can see there, and here comes Aurélie Storti. At the moment, Wendy Wagner also doing pretty well. 5:13 up the first climb. That's encouraging.
Yeah, she looks like she's right in the race where she needs to be with the red group to come. If she can be right there, right behind the red group, I think it'll be a solid result for her.
And this is 2 laps around the same 5-kilometer loop, so you will see runners on their second loop as well as their first, as you see Sarah Renner for Canada.
She had an excellent result last week, 11. She's hoping for a top 10, but would be ecstatic with a 15th also.
And here is the leader of the race in the sense further on. You just saw there Sirina Michel, who's got past Magda Genuine, who actually started with bib number 1, but in fact it's Sirina Michel who's ahead of her now. Vasilieva at 1,600 meters, and we have a new leader. Lilia Vasilieva for Russia, taking over from her teammate Vasilieva, who was 3rd in the opening Classic World Cup race of the season at Kusamo. Very consistent in the classic races. Korolik now. Coming up to 1,600 meters. She's not going to be near the time of Vasilieva. It's Russia, Canada, and then Russia, Kostyleva in 3rd place. Wagner down to 4th, but all very close, just 2 or 3 seconds between them. About to start now. This is Jenny Olsen for Sweden. A fantastic race, I thought, Torren, when she was 5th in the 15-kilometer classic. She was 5th in Kusamo in the opening race, but that 5th in the World Championships for Jenny Olsen, that's a big step forward. Only 23 years of age.
I wonder if that has something to do with how optimistic the Swedes are feeling right now.
Well, I think so. They didn't have the best of luck yesterday. At one time, we've already talked about Matthew Fredriksson's bad luck, but Jürgen Brink well in the men's race. But at the end of the day, it was all Norway. Now, another racer who did pretty well in the opening 15-kilometer women's race was Sumiko Yokoyama with a personal best of 19th, and she's traveling about 10 seconds off the pace of the runners who've left the stadium ahead of her at the moment. 46, Kirsi Valima for Finland, 6th in Kusama. She's also got good classic credentials. As you see, Rika Sirvio, she's been through the stadium the first time, so she's out on the second leg with this climb and then the other big one at 3.7. But we're getting ever closer now. Ventascari, the big favorite, within a minute of starting. Teammate Hilda Pedersen, wearing 47 in picture top right, about to go. Hilda, 4 top 10 finishes in the Classic World Cup competitions coming into the World Championships, and 4th is where she finished up the other day, 53 seconds behind Ventascari. We haven't really mentioned her too much, but she is a contender for a medal today.
I was talking to some Norwegians this morning, and they're saying that she's going to be in there.
And
time will tell.
She's proof positive that age is no barrier for performance, because she's these championships, I hope she won't mind me saying, at 38 years of age, but she belies those years in the way she performs.
We just had the woman, the queen, to start off now. A huge cheer from the crowd.
Yes, the Norwegians all around the track. As I mentioned earlier on, there's about 3,000 of them here. The ones in the stands, the expensive seats, well, most of those are guests, but the ones you see around the trail, well, they've saved up their krona. Packages were on sale as long as back as a year ago, and they're out here doing a great job at the moment. There's a Norwegian house in Kavalese, which is well attended. In fact, it's rather difficult to get into it. But they're enjoying it. As you probably know, alcohol isn't the cheapest thing in Norway, so it's a double bonus for the Norwegians when they're able to celebrate here. So now, Torren, we're getting into the race proper. Just a few more of the red group to start. There is a fifth group today. These are for racers who are not truly at World Cup or World Championship standard, and to avoid them actually getting trodden on by some of the other racers. They've been put in Group 5, but nonetheless, they will be going for their personal best. And here's Becky Scott for Canada, marching up the hill here at the first climb, chasing, as you can see, the early leaders, and 3 seconds down.
Becky, one of the earlier starters of the red group. She's going to have everybody chasing her time around the course.
Yes, a bit of a disadvantage the way the draws come out for her, really. The Olympic silver medalist in the pursuit, and most recently, last weekend, second in Asiago, 27 seconds behind Bentascari, but of course that was only 5 kilometers. Peruzzi, who declined the 15 kilometers to go today. 4 podiums this season, all of them though in freestyle skating, although that doesn't tell the story fully because she is the Olympic Classic champion at 30,000 meters.
Now she's on home soil.
So huge support, as you could imagine, for Peruzzi.
It's looking very tight with the times up front. A lot of people are within the first 3 seconds, which just means that I think later on the course we're going to see when it happens.
What do you think the tactic's going to be for Bentascari?
I think Benta's a very quick starter. She likes to get out there, and that's when and suffer and hurt. And when she does that, that's when she races her best.
Christina Smeagol, 3:57. She's the only woman inside 4 minutes up the first climb. So this is pretty interesting. Another aggressive start from Christina Smeagol. And again, Bentascari's got the advantage because she can be kept up to the mark by our coaches. And if Smeagol is really pressing, then Scorry can respond to that.
When it becomes the biggest advantage is right out of the start because you're able to know how you're starting, and that's very important to get into the race.
Here is Smeagol, and goes through 8.9 seconds ahead. Now that's a huge advantage. Just having a look at, she's 8.9 seconds ahead of Vasilieva, but the point is, or the point that we have to make is that she is ahead of Bentascari. Compared to Becky Scott, Smeagol has got a 12-second advantage. Now that's a huge advantage at this stage.
Within 1.6 kilometers for sure.
That's disappointing for Becky Scott, really, in a way. And ironically, Sarah Renner, her own teammate, was 2 seconds quicker than her up the first climb. Kirsi Valima has gone into 5th equal place, 11 seconds off the pace. So what we can say already is that Smeagol is laying it down to Scorry exactly the same way as she did in the 15.
What we're going to see today is the people that are racing the most aggressive, most confident are going to have the best performances.
And Smeagol, who said that she was absolutely exhausted at 10 kilometers, she gave everything. But, of course, it was at 12 that Scorry put in her second attack and went away from Smeagol. But Smeagol probably determined she'll be very strong mentally as a result of that performance to give it her best shot.
It was almost, when Scorry was talking about the race, she was almost surprised that she was able to stay with her for the 3 Ks of her move.
So 2/10 separating Scorry and Smeagol up the first climb. They are exactly together. And just out of interest, at 10,000 meters in the 15K race, there was only 3/10 separating them. You're looking at Serena Michel, the under-23 15 Classic champion of just a week ago in Bormio, and she's first home in the clubhouse. And just to reiterate her time, 28 minutes 11.1 seconds. We'll see how that stands up. That might not be too bad. Good effort. Back to the first climb. We've seen Scorry go through. Who else is getting close? Well, Zavielova's within 4 seconds. So we've got the gold, silver and bronze medalists of 48 hours ago in that order at the moment, with Hilda Pedersen, who was 4th 48 hours ago, also 4th, ahead of Vasilyeva of Russia, who's running about 4 seconds slower than Hilda Pedersen.
For the Italian fans, it looks like Gabriella Peruzzi got off to a good start in 6th place there.
She should get stronger, and Shevchenko, again, with a much better start than she had in the 15K. She's running on about the same terms as Hilda Pedersen in 4th place. 51 in picture, Manuela Henkel, who was 9th. 1 minute and 48 seconds down on Scori. And of course, one of the great Olympic sister duos. Her sister Andrea, who got 2 gold medals as a biathlete in Salt Lake City, and Manuela, of course, a gold medal with the German team in the cross country. One of the great moments of sport when that happens, and it's always tough when you've got a great sister. It would have been horrible if one of them had gone home with nothing, but it didn't happen that way. They went home with 3 gold medals between them.
The Germans were the surprise of the 2002 Olympics, and they've carried that over this season.
Petra Majic. Now, the tall Slovenian, what sort of speed is she going at? Majic, quite a bit to do. Quite a bit to do. 15 seconds, that's a worry. Looking slightly laboured up that climb. Lena Anderson in picture. Well, what a terrific junior she is, but she's had a rotten season. One sickness after another. She really is in this red group because of the 2 top sprint performances in classic style that she had right at the end of last World Cup season. And in the 15-kilometer race a couple of days ago, she was down in 22nd place, about 2.5 minutes off the pace. Sorkmo, Maya Helen Sorkmo in for one of the Norwegians, Anita Mohn, who had to pull out of the 15K, and Marit Bjørgen, who's decided to sort herself out for the sprint championship next week. And Sorkmo and Skofterud are the 2 Norwegians who've come in for the places. And I can tell you that Skofterud about 7 seconds down by our reckoning on Bente Skari and Christina Smegen, likewise for Sorkmo. Now that was just a few moments ago, not quite at the point they are, so they might well lose another couple of seconds here. Skofterud in red there, and I'll give you confirmation of that in a moment, because pretty well, 13 seconds, so that climb really taking its toll. Soren.
Yeah, early it gets off really well, and just keeps on climbing for the next about 2K.
So that's the situation. The leaders have gone through 1,600 meters. Skori and Smegen virtually together. Zavialova being chased by Pedersen and Shevchenko. Peruzzi, steady starter. Sarah Renner, the best of the Canadians at the moment. Becky Scott with a lot of work to do.
Any surprises out there for you?
Well, I'm surprised to see Becky Scott quite that far down at the moment. I have to say that Vasilyeva for Russia doing really well up there in the top half dozen. But we're going to see 1 or 2 personal bests before this race is over. Perja Maninen,
the Arctic Rocket.
Well, this is just looking at that. Perja Maninen through 6,000. I don't know. Do I believe this or not? Where is just trying to work this out here. We're not seeing Perja Maninen in picture. Don't believe that graphic, actually. I think that's a complete misleader. 32 just skiing away from us is Vasilyeva. Now she was right up there in the firing line in the 1.6 kilometer list, and at the moment at 6,400 meters she's ahead of Sarah Renner by just a couple of seconds. 10 seconds ahead of Rika Servio and 20 ahead of Ellen Ek. So there's no doubt that she's having a really good run. At the finish, it's Rika Servio who is actually the leader in the clubhouse in 27 minutes 22 seconds. Sarina Michaud, who went very early, down into third place. And Anna Dahlberg has just gone into second. You just saw that there behind Rika Servio. So Rika Servio, who was sixth in that 15-kilometer classic race, 23 seconds ahead of Dahlberg, and really emphasizing that form.
Seems that the Finnish women are coming on a little bit now with Pirjo Mononen, and we'll see what kind of form she's in.
We will. We'll just give you an update on that. The world sprint champion, of course, Pirjo Mononen, but also in the Finnish championships won the 15-kilometer race as well. Just trying to check on Mononen. Mononen, well, not going that well. 18 seconds down after the first climb. I thought that race was, that graphic was a bit misguiding. Mariana Longa, very good 11th. She's on the far side here, the Italian. Only a minute down on Scari at 10,000 meters at the split 48 hours ago. So that was an excellent race by Mariana.
Maybe almost fitting. Last night they had a dedication with Solomon for Stefania Belmondo, the great Italian. Now it's kind of the young guard coming up, getting a few more extra starts today with the sickness.
Yes, I think that's absolutely true. It's given a chance to one or two. Polling in here, Korosteleva for Russia. And Korosteleva in second place, so that's a very good result really for her. Considering that her best performances have been in the sprints at Dusseldorf and Clusoni when she was twice in the top 10. That's a good performance because those sprints, something of a guide, but I think she's excelled herself there. Anne-Marie Viljama, 7th over 15,000 meters, Torren, and within 8 seconds, so that's not too bad. Becky Scott has definitely quickened up. Becky Scott making a move after the first climb. She's after Sarah Renner. Just worth having a look at the difference between Renner, who was 10 seconds down behind Scari. There was 2 seconds in Renner's favor at 1,600 meters, and now it looks as if Scott's reversed that, made about 5 or 6 seconds going through the halfway point.
I think Becky Scott's going to need a little more measure than that over the last few kilometers with the people coming up behind her.
Interesting story you've got about Becky, because she knows Bente very well.
Yes, with Bente coming over to the U.S. the last couple of years in preparation for the 2002 Olympics, Becky and her trained a lot together. And Becky was telling me that she has utmost respect for Bente, just like thinks that she's just the greatest girl, and is very impressed with how hard she trains and how smart and just very outgoing. In fact, they were training a lot in the summer times together, and what Becky took back from that was how strong of a double puller, kick double puller Bente was, and that's what she decided that she needed to work on for the last year and a half, and is what has partly made the difference for her.
Interesting also that I believe that one of those visits was Bente's honeymoon, and they still went out training.
Yes.
So Becky Scott, you can see there, the fastest through 6,400 meters. Now the difference between her and Peruzzi, try and give you a relationship there between the time for Peruzzi and the time for Becky Scott. Peruzzi was about 3 seconds ahead of Becky Scott. That was at 1,600 meters. And that advantage has now been increased by some 7 or 8 seconds. So Peruzzi also accelerating. Smegen striding up now, and this is a really important point now. Christina Smegen going for the advantage. Remember, she is the one who's throwing down the pace, Torren. And look at that, 31 seconds. I mean, that's a huge advantage.
it'll be very interesting coming into 30K too, where she said she was going to be in her top form. Do you think she was almost being a little cagey there with how good her form is coming into these championships?
Well, I think she's taken tremendous confidence. She now has an absolute barometer as to where she is in relation to Bentascari. And I think, obviously, she still has the 30-kilometer race, that gold medal in her mind is the one that she really wants. But having said that, I think she knows how she performed over the first 10,000 meters. And that's what she's got in her mind today. It's do or die and see whether she can upset Bentascari. Here comes Hilda Pedersen, who is being closed on rapidly by the queen-elect, we should say, of cross-country skiing. 30 seconds after Pedersen did start Bentascari, and she's going to be breathing very closely on Pedersen's neck any moment. There she is, and there's the fluency again.
Yeah, it's a very super rhythmic technique of hers in her arms and her shoulders. Has a little quick movement in her legs.
Look at just talk us through the difference between her and Pedersen.
Well, everybody talks about how smooth and explosive Benta is. It almost looks like it's super like almost easy, but it's not. She's slamming that foot down and getting great glide out of each stride.
And there, Pedersen, well aware of the inevitable, and steps to the side to let Bente go through. So Bente on the charge at the moment, and Scori, who's opened up now a 7-second advantage at 6,400 meters. So this is the absolute crucial part of the race. But of course, there's also a bronze medal at stake. If we're saying that Smigan's looking good for silver, is Zavialova going for another bronze? Because she's got Pedersen to deal with as well. And Zavialova and Pedersen, 2 or 3 seconds between them. It's very close. And then Paruzzi's 7 or 8 seconds back off that pace. Shevchenko's a couple of seconds behind Paruzzi. Valima and Scott just not making the impression we expected. Now, to be fair to Becky, we know that the prime target for her is the pursuit.
The pursuit and the sprint.
So maybe this is the race she needs, all racers need, to get yourself mentally and physically prepared for your main target.
Almost blow out that carbon a little bit, kind of get the feel of the course and the feel of the whole scene.
Just blow the cobwebs off and, you know, get yourself ready. I mean, she did in Asiago, but this is a stunning performance again by Bentascari, who now looks to me, Torin, as if she's going to go further and further away.
Yes, well, she's looking very good. What the racers say is the last 2 kilometers is when you really have to dig down and find that extra reserve, and we know Benta has that.
So the main contenders yet to get to the top of the final time, but Lilia Vasilieva in picture challenging Rika Servio, and she's going to take the advantage. And I can tell you at the moment she was the fastest to 8,700 meters, but it is Russia to take the advantage over Finland. And so Russia, Vasilieva into the lead ahead of Rika Servio. Oksana Yatskaya of Kazakhstan currently in 3rd place, just a 10th behind Rika Servio. And Korostoleva of Russia now off the podium, with Sara Renner currently in 5th place ahead of Sweden's Elenek and France's Aurélie Storti, who's currently in 7th place. Majic not really at the races, too far back.
A very strong Slovenian. Maybe this isn't quite the course for her.
But I think something's awry, because I think she's capable of much better than this. And I think this is a disappointing week for Petra Majic. It really hasn't gone her way. She's a good classic skier, but the form that we would have expected from her is not evident at the moment. So we're all thinking now, Torin, about who's going to get the bronze medal, I think, because the silver looks pretty solid at the moment. Smigan, who has gone through 8,700 meters and is 41 seconds ahead of Paruzzi and is a minute ahead of Becky Scott. And I really can't see them getting to her in the same way that no one is going to get to Bentascari.
With only 1.3 kilometers left, I think it's out of reach. The big question now is going to come down to Peruzzi and Savilova with Becky Scott maybe trying to chase him down.
And Pedersen. Remember, we've got Pedersen to think of as there. Pedersen, fourth. She would love to break that sequence of being fourth. And this would be the day to do it. Hilda Pedersen, sprint medal in the Olympics. She was 7th in the Olympic classic race, Hilda Pedersen.
Lena Anderson getting a split from her coaches here, telling her how she's doing out on the course. You're always in contact with your coaches. They'll let you know how you're doing, how you're looking, technique, giving you feeds out on there.
And that's one of the really good pictures, because that just gives you an indication. Television often doesn't show you how steep these climbs are, but they are really demanding.
And it's climbing. This climb here in particular goes on for 1.3 kilometers with uninterrupted.
Does it have that sense when you're out there, Torrin, of never ending?
Well, you know, you just at the worst case it does, absolutely. But what you try to do is just try to think just right in the moment, like an everlasting now almost.
So I can tell you Bentascari through 8,700 meters. She's got a 14-second advantage over Schmiegen, and she's 30 ahead of Hilda Pedersen, who is currently 25 seconds ahead of Peruzzi, and it looks like another 2 Norwegian medals, because that's the standing at 6.4, but I can tell you that those positions are, or the first 3 positions are exactly the same at 8.7 kilometers further down the course. So Bentascari is within the last 1,000 meters now of her race and looking for that second gold medal. And remember, there could be so much more to come. And it's interesting when you look at Skori and you look at Olsgaard, they're the same age. They live just a mountain hop away from each other. Yeah, let me throw that to you again, Torrance. It is coincidence how the two of them are so similar.
Now, with Skari growing up in Nittendal, right outside Oslo, and Alsgaard in Nonestad, the same town as Bjorn Dali.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably just a place with great tradition of skiing. And when you're growing up in Norway, if you're one of the top Norwegians, it's not such a leap for you to believe that you can be the best in the world.
On the right, coming home over the roller now, Becky Scott. Becky Scott with 1,300 meters, more than 1 minute and 15 seconds down, but looking to try and get ahead of Vasilieva of Russia. In the final 100 meters now, and you can see 17 seconds. It's going to be pretty close, this, which underlines what a good race Vasilieva has run. And this is the double poling.
Yes, what you're trying to do here is really recruit the core of your stomach. And when Per Ellison says he's had a great race, he feels almost his stomach is can't even walk because it's so tired.
Becky Scott makes it by 3/10, and she's being pursued home by Marit Rolseth, who she overtook some time ago, who's 43 seconds behind her. Now it becomes really interesting because we're looking for Peruzzi, and then we're looking for Christina Smegen. And here's Peruzzi, who surely will be happier at the longer distance, the 30 kilometers, at which she is Olympic champion, admittedly in classic style, but she's effective in skating. And Peruzzi takes the advantage, 23 seconds ahead of Becky Scott of Canada, but she's not going to hold on to that for very much longer. 45 coming home is Christina Smegen to take the lead by 45 seconds over Peruzzi. And the real battle that we've got to watch for now is this bronze medal, and it's Pedersen and Zabielova. But at the last checkpoint, as you see, Christina Smegen completely out of gas. No petrol left in the tank. That's how we like to see them, flat out. But here's Bentascari being pursued by Hilda Pedersen, who's done a really smart thing here, hasn't she, Torrin? Because she stayed on Bentascari's ski tail. She's getting the fastest possible ride to the finish.
Well, it's impressive for Hilda that she was able to hang on, increase the pace and allow herself to catch that train ride home.
So it is Bentaskari, and she's being attacked here by Hilda Pedersen on the right-hand side, who's just trying to unlap herself, so to speak. It's Bentaskari closest to you in picture, who's going to be the champion, but the bronze medalist is on the far side. Two Norwegians flying home whilst the Norwegian flags fly, and it looks like gold on the left, bronze on the right. Smeagan recovering for the silver, out of picture. But Bentaskari has got her second gold medal. 21 seconds the advantage over Christina Smeagan, and real delight there from Bente to Hilda, because she knows that her teammate has got a medal.
3 races, 6 medals for the Norwegians so far.
Kirsi Valima challenging Becky Scott for 5th place. Going to be very close. She's not going to do it. Becky's going to hang on to that 5th place. But again, good signs here for the Finnish squad in terms of the upcoming relay.
We've had several top 10s.
So Bentaskari in the form of her life, having the season of her life. Well, I don't know how many more superlatives we can find about her, Torrin. We've always known she's a great classic skier. What's going to be really interesting to see is her perform in the skating disciplines, because there she's improved so much this season.
We'll get our first look at that in the continuous pursuit, as we call it in the U.S., the duathlon, where they'll start off with the classic technique and then go straight into Le Mans style change, right into another 5K skate.
Zavyalova's not going to be a medalist today. She'll have to be satisfied at this moment with the bronze that she got in the 15,000 meter race. But she does get ahead of Becky Scott. So the order at the moment is Skori in gold, Smeagan in silver, Pedersen in bronze, Peruzzi is 4th, Zavyalova 5th ahead of Becky Scott, and Vasilieva of Russia in 7th place. So that will give the Russians a little bit of hope for the relays, but I don't really think they're going to be the dominant force this time. New generation on the way. Shevchenko showed up much better in this race. I thought she was rather disappointing in the 15K when she was 20th, and that's pretty well true to form there, Shevchenko. She finished a minute and 14 down, and the 10K split in the 15 race, she was a minute and 24 behind Bentaskari. So that's very, very much on form. Manuela Henkel in front there, and Henkel and Majic coming home. Just having a look there to the higher placed. It is Majic who once again seems to have recovered. Interesting, Torren. We've seen her now in 2 races where she seems to have a bad patch and then come back towards the finish.
It might be how the course just suits her. I think she's just such a powerful double puller, just is able to power the course. And then some sections there with those long, grinding, steep uphills, maybe it's not suited for her technique.
Well, that's a good finish by her, 1:16 behind. So Majic into the top 10. Becky Scott drops a place. Manuela Henkel a minute and 46 off the pace.
With ramifications for the relay, it looks like Finland's got the tightest spacing with 4 athletes in the top 15.
Yes, but we are talking classic style. You've got to have a good couple of freestylers as well to put in there. But they've got Maninen, certainly one good freestyler, the world sprint champion. She's going to play a major part for them. Although the timetable, quite interesting to see how they actually plan that out, because the women's relay is on Monday and the sprint is actually on Wednesday. So we've seen that happen before, where the coach would say, no, let's go for the main target. But it'll be difficult to leave Maninen out of the sprint team, out of the relay team.
Lena Anderson, we'll see some more good things from her in the future.
Yes, I think you get seasons like this. There's very few cross-country skiers, you would know this, Torren, who go through their career without one rotten season when you just can't get rid of a cold or you can't get rid of a virus. And That's really been the story for Lena Anderson, but not for this lady. She has been super all the way through. Not a problem. And you thank the heavens for that as you see Sorkmo coming to the end of her race. So 2 Norwegians in the top 5.
Svein Tore Sandal, the Norwegian national head team coach for the women's, got to be definitely happy with how his women are performing so far.
Well, he's got an outstanding start, but I think he'll be really happy that Pedersen has finally got that individual medal. And Skofterud, another promising Norwegian youngster, only 22 years of age, represented Norway in the Olympic Games and at the last World Championships, but she is going to, I think, mature into a very competitive racer over the next 3 to 4 years.
I couldn't agree more.
Skofterud outside the top 20, likewise Sorkmo. But Bente Skari, Olympic and world champion at 10,000 meters, and she's defended her world title. I suppose some people are going to say with ease. But there it is, 21 seconds the margin, 29 seconds back is Hilda Pedersen. Peruzzi misses out. Zabielova and Shevchenko in 6th and 7th. Better performance by Madic of Slovenia. Becky Scott, well, I think we maybe got too excited too early. I think we'll see good things from her in the pursuit, hopefully this weekend. And a good result there from Sarah Renaud of Canada, also in the top 20. Storti for France, and Longer, 2 other very decent performances by 2 young, promising skiers. Jenny Olsen there, you can see what a contrast today. I suspect I saw her slipping and sliding once or twice there. I suspect the skis weren't as effective today as they were in the 15,000 meters, because those 2 performances don't really match up there, Torrens.
No.
There has to be a reason for her being that far back. But she's young enough to get over that disappointment. Well, as I've often said, this is a really comprehensive